flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Zwicker?
Here.
Ms. Breyer?
Here.
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Ms. Palmer? Mr. Corman?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Zwicker.
I move that we excuse the absent council member.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Ms. Breyer, that we excuse Councilmember Breyer. All in favor say aye.
Palmer.
Oh, excuse me.
Palmer.
Yeah, that's right. Terry's here. So we'll make it Palmer. We'll make it Palmer instead.
Okay. That'll work.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Off to a good start.
Yeah. Welcome, Terry. It's good to see you
And I
here.
will actually have at least something to announce in new business.
Okay, I'll
Keep her
remember
in
that.
mind. It can only get better from here, Mr.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, next on the agenda is a proclamation.
Proclamation, Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Whereas communities around the globe celebrate World Elder Abuse Awareness Day every June 15th, and whereas elder abuse is inflicted on vulnerable senior citizens across all socioeconomic boundaries and consists of any act that harms or jeopardizes the health or welfare of a senior citizen, including neglect or financial, emotional, or physical abuse. And whereas the National Center on Elder Abuse found that the most common perpetrator of elder abuse is the victim's spouse or partner, indicating a large portion of elder abuse is domestic violence. And whereas we are all responsible for eliminating elder abuse and building safer communities for our senior citizens, and should watch for signs of elder abuse such as physical trauma, withdrawal, depression, or anxiety, or fear of family members, friends, or caregivers. And whereas Renton senior citizens should be treated with respect and dignity to enable them to continue to live as independently as possible and serve as leaders, mentors, volunteers, and active members of the community. Now therefore I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2012 to be Elder Abuse Awareness Day in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance. In witness whereof, I have herein to set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 11th day of June, 2012. Signed, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Zwicker.
I move that the council concur in the proclamation as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Ms. Breyer. The council concur with the proclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to administrative report. Mr. Covington?
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and then we'll move to audience comment. We have 3 people signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come to the podium, give your name, city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. We have a timer next to the city clerk. Is it Deanne Ferguson?
Hi, my name is Diane Ferguson, and I am a resident of the city of Tukwila. But it's great to be here. I am here speaking on behalf of the West Hill Business Association, and I'm the treasurer there, as well as the West Hill Yes Committee. And we're here tonight to talk to you because there is a rumor floating that there might be a postponement of the West Hill annexation vote to happen in November. And so we're here to say that we really would not like for you to postpone that for a couple of reasons. First of all, we know that you're all elected officials and you know how important it is to be able to mount a viable campaign one way or the other. And we have been off and on working very hard to mount a public education campaign about the West Hill annexation and what that would mean in terms of both those who might be for it as well as those who might be against it. And it makes it real difficult when we are thinking that when it was postponed from February the 14th, we were under the understanding that there would be a date certain to happen in November for that vote to happen, and so we got together and have been working really hard on that. And it's very difficult, as you know, as elected officials, to put something together when you're not really sure when you're going to be on the ballot. The other thing is that we also think that you've worked really hard as a council. We know that part of your lobbying efforts in Olympia has been to make sure that the tax credits have been secure so that there would be some compensation to some extent to underwrite the cost of that. And so we actually feel for you, having worked that hard, to not be able to potentially realize that outcome as well. We understand that there are some real economic issues, that there is potentially perhaps $1.35 million that will not be compensated. But as someone who's been working on this effort a long time, that's actually significantly less than what it's been in the past. And we're optimistic that there are ways that we can get to make the numbers work out. And I think one of the things is just having the new residents, the new influx, and the property taxes that would come with that, and that we're asking that you look at it both in terms of short-term and long-term, because we think in the long term it will pay for itself. But the other thing is that I think it's really important to understand that people really identify with Renton on the West Hill. Many of the people that live there work for Boeing, and many of the other the hospitals and different things that are here in Renton. The other thing is they shop, they work, they play in the city of Renton. Their kids attend Renton schools, and so we feel very connected. And so we also, some of our big issues that we had, for those of us who have been working on this issue for a long time, was what's going to happen with the library. And by the Skyway Library now being a part of the King County Library System, and as is Renton, we think that that will actually do much to lift the economic development of the Renton Avenue corridor. And so we're very excited about that. And so I think the real important thing for us is that we would ask that you not postpone it, because it'll be very demoralizing for people that have been working on it for a long time, for people that are excited, for people that want to be engaged in the political process. And when we stall and don't move forward, then some of those people lose sight of why they believe in government, and they're less optimistic than some of us. And so basically we would just ask you to take a long, hard look at not postponing the vote. Give us an opportunity, because people have worked so hard on putting a plan together, doing testimonials, getting signatures and everything, and we think it would be demoralizing, and we think that it actually would be an added benefit for the Skyway West Hill area to be a part of the city of Renton, because it actually would increase your overall population so that you become a bigger city, and you move from being the 9th largest city in the state to probably more like number 4. So please consider that as you move forward, because we would like for the vote to go forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And I just wanted to mention that next Monday at 6 p.m., I believe. 5:30. The council will be discussing the West Hill annexation issue, and we'll be receiving more updated information. So you're certainly welcome to attend that.
All right, thank you so much.
Monday.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Corman.
Well, I was just going to say, Ms. Ferguson at the podium, I don't know if you'd be willing to come back. I think all of us on council are very sensitive to what you're describing, and I guess I just wanted to address head on, the fact you said there were rumors that the vote was potentially going to be postponed, and I wanted to let you know that my understanding is that is in fact potentially a serious discussion that this council could have, and I just wanted to be upfront about that. And I was curious, and I don't know if it's fair to put you on the spot, but I was wondering if you knew, or if others were aware that that initially I think this council, it was a split council that was going forward with this vote, but one of the understandings of the council at the time was that we could go to the vote and have the West Hill citizens tell us whether or not they wanted to annex, and there was a belief that this council could still make a decision after that. And I just wanted to share with you and the rest of the public that we're now being told by our city attorney that maybe that's not the case, that if we went to the ballot, that we would pretty much be bound to follow whatever the voters decided. Now, in fairness, that's probably what we should have done all along. I think there were few, if anybody, on the council that really wanted to go to the voters and ask you what you wanted, and and then deny you whatever it was that you wanted. But it raises the stakes if we're absolutely bound to because of the financials. And then just the other thing I wanted to share, and you may or may not know, I was an advocate of annexing West Hill. I may still be. I'm going to go into the discussions with an open mind for sure. But the state sales tax rebate that helps us balance the budget at Benson Hill and would help. We'd still have a deficit with annexing West Hill of, just as you said, I think you were right on, $1.3 million or something. But as you know, that the legislature did kind of what I was referring to, the hokey pokey with that money. It was in the budget, and then it was out of the budget, and it was in the budget. And it made us pretty nervous because when we first agreed to annex Benson Hill, we'd had an understanding that it was a 10-year allocation, and with them just taking it out of the budget, it spooked us on Benson Hill that we weren't going to have $2 million, and then it makes it even more worrisome for us if we annex West Hill and the legislature decides not to give us some money. So all those considerations are in play that were not before, and I just admire so much your participation in this process, your desire to annex West Hill. I'm flattered, as are all the council, that you would want to be part of the city of Renton, and we'd like so hard to make that happen. But I just wanted you to know that, in fact, that's kind of the nature of the discussions we're having.
Right. And I don't know if I can speak, but I would just like to say that I know we've been in contact with Bob Hasagawa and Zach Hutchins, and potentially we've run around and talked with Burquest and Verk and Rob Holland and James Flynn and everybody who's running to get their support for this effort. And we have some folks who said that they would champion it. And I know that you have a very intelligent city attorney, but I think it's also open for interpretation if that is indeed the way that's written, because if you look at White Center, Berrien, and some of the other places where annexation has been the issue, there's been a different interpretation of that. And so I would just, share that limited information that I have as well. And I do think in the end, having worked a long time in city government, that we could make the numbers work together.
Good.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, good. Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. For
You bet, Mr. Corman, thank you. Next is Paula Bean.
Hi, I'm Paula Bean. I live here in Renton. I have a problem I've been trying to get help with. Somebody dumped off some roosters, and they're making a lot of noise, and this has gone on for a month. One has been captured. I get a lot of passing the buck. Animal control has not contacted me back. They have contacted other neighbors, but they say it's not in the budget to catch them, because I guess they can only catch them in the morning, which doesn't really make sense to me. The police department says they don't have the tools for it. I mean, it's 4:15 in the morning, 3:50 in the morning. It's very loud, and I'm not getting any sleep. My neighbors aren't getting any sleep. We're very distraught. So I just need some advice and help on what to do and where to go, and I'm stuck.
Okay, well, I can assure you we'll look into that. In fact, if you'd like to, Commander Wilcox is in the back of the room, and he can discuss that with you and help arrange something.
I would appreciate that.
Okay?
That was all I wanted to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
And Mr. Mayor, no, it was not me that dropped off the roosters.
No, I think Commander Wilcox will figure that out.
It's a big
I knew you
joke.
were thinking it, so I just thought
I know, it comes across like a big joke, but it has gotten really frustrating. And they can be really mean, and there's kids in the area, and I can just see at some point this rooster attacking some child just because it's in a bad mood or something. So I'm just kind of like, between the crowing and that, I'm like, oh, we don't know what to do.
And they are forbidden in the city for all the reasons you listed.
Well, and we thought it belonged to a person, and this person has now said, no, it's not mine, it's just hanging out in my yard. It doesn't matter, we all want it gone.
Okay,
We just don't know what to do,
We'll see what we can
Yeah.
do to help you with that.
Thank you.
Okay, Next is the consent agenda. We have 6 items for council consideration. Are there any items the council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Zwicker.
hearing none, I move the council concur with the consent agenda.
Second?
Been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Zwicker.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Breyer?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Prince?
Community Services has a report.
Community Services Committee report, Airport Advisory Committee appointment. The Community Services Committee recommends concurrence in Mayor Law's appointment of Mr. David Basco to the Airport Advisory Committee, Renton Hill Neighborhood primary position for an unexpired term expiring May 7th, 2015. This is signed by the 3 committee members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Community Services Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Taylor, that council concur with the Community Services Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Person.
No old business.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moving on to resolutions and ordinance, we have an ordinance for second and final reading.
This ordinance regards a reference to gross misdemeanors, a code amendment. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 1-3-1 of Chapter 3, Remedies and Penalties of Title I, Administrative of City Code, correcting subsection 1-3-1B to include gross misdemeanors.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Zwicker, that this ordinance be adopted as read, and it requires a roll call.
Mr. Zwicker?
Aye.
Ms. Breyer?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor. All ayes.
Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you, Bonnie. Moving on to new business, Mr. Zwicker.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we had previously discussed last week that there was a meet and greet with the Renton School Board set for June 13th. That has been canceled, so everybody's available to go to the River Days if they'd like. But again, the meet and greet with the school board has been canceled for June 13th. I'd also then like to call out the meeting of the Committee of the Whole for Monday, June 18th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. We will be discussing West Hill annexation, which is the continuation, or not the continuation, but from tonight's postponed meeting to that. We're also anticipating that the city attorney will have another briefing memo as detailed as he can make it regarding ramifications of a postponement or suspension of the date and that type of stuff. So we had some more information forthcoming, which is also a reason for the postponement from tonight. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Breyer?
Yes, the Finance Committee will meet next Monday, the 18th. And we're going to change the time to 4:30 to 5:30 since public safety's being canceled. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prince?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a Planning and Development Committee meeting this Thursday, June 14th at 3 o'clock in the council conference room. We'll be discussing Title IV, Docket 8. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The public safety meeting had been scheduled for all day next week, but it's canceled. And then, just on the kind of a good news thing, I had the opportunity today to observe the Renton High School Alumni Association in action. As most people may not know, this Renton senior class has no parent association or anything to do any recognition for them as they graduate. So the Renton Alumni Association puts on a free barbecue for the graduating seniors every year. And today they went through 240 burgers and 160 sausages. And it's amazing the work these people do. Most of them are graduated long before I graduated from high school. But the kids were awesome. There's no parents around to remind them to say thank you. And they're all saying thank you to to the alumni for doing this. So it's just showing what a good community we have and how our alumni stick together. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Person. Mr. Carmen?
It's a hard act to follow, Mr. Mayor. Just like to announce a Transportation Committee meeting. It'll be immediately following Planning and Development at 4 o'clock on Thursday, June 14th. There's 4 items on that agenda. Oh, it's in the council conference room. 4 items on the agenda. Addendum to Northwest Seaplanes Incorporated lease. Item 2 is operating permit and agreement with Clean Craft Detailing. Item 3 is addendum to Aerodyne LLC lease. And 4th item is emerging issues in transportation. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Corman. And Mr. Taylor?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to audience comment, Audrey Adams.
Hi, my name is Audrey Adams at 10939 Southeast 183rd Court in Renton. You have about the fastest council meetings that I've ever observed. Don't give me any chance to check it out now, do you? I am back again today, as promised. And Mr. Covington, I did send you something. I'm always a last-minute person, so of course it comes at the last minute, but it serves just as well to hand it out after I say what I have to say. One thing I neglected to tell you all last week is that as a product of my experiences with my son, which you saw my letter, I wound up becoming involved in Washington Action for Safe Water, which promotes the removal of fluoride from water. I am the only non-professional that's on that board. And so I have spoken from time to time, but for some reason I'm more nervous speaking to you than I am with anybody else. I don't myself understand that. I don't expect you, like I said before, I'm really here to inform, to educate. Why on earth would you listen to a mom? And I look pretty lonely here all by myself. But one thing I wanted to bring in some information to you tonight was that there are over 4,000 professionals who have put their name to a statement on the Fluoride Action Network website calling for an end to water fluoridation. These are professionals, so I can't be on that list. Over 4,000. Now, the 130 of them are here in Washington State. And that may not sound like such a big deal, you know, except when you consider that these professionals oftentimes do so at great risk to their own profession and livelihood, because it's not popular to come out against water fluoridation, particularly not in certain fields. I mean, when you have the American Medical Association, American Dental Association, and the every Department of Health and the CDC all promoting it. So how do you come out against water fluoridation? Well, you only do so, and you only put your name on that paper if you have really studied the issue. And that's where we are way down the road from when the voters here in Renton originally put it on, you know, put their stamp of approval on it. The amount of science that has been done since that time is extraordinary. So I wanted to point out that every place I have spoken where there's been a proponent of fluoride, every place, and I mean every place, the proponent is paid, the opponents are not. There are a number of professionals, some that are have signed on to this statement that really do so at tremendous hardship to their own livelihood. I emailed a copy of what the professional statement actually says to Mr. Covington, but I want to point out a few. There's 8 items The beginning of this professional statement says, "We, the undersigned professionals, come from a variety of disciplines, but all have an abiding interest in ensuring that government, public health, and environmental policies be determined honestly, with full attention paid to the latest scientific research and to ethical principles." There's 8 items. I'm going to touch on just a couple of them. Item number 2, and I'll let you read the others. Evidence provided by the CDC in 2005 that 32% of American children have dental fluorosis. I want you to know that that just got changed last year to 41%. Dental fluorosis goes hand in hand with skeletal fluorosis. They'll have you believe that it is cosmetic only, but again, over 4,000 professionals have looked at the science directly and say, no, it's not. Number 4 on here is the CDC's concession that the predominant benefit of fluoride in reducing tooth decay is topical, not systemic. And number 8, I'll just skip ahead, is the publication in 2004, The Fluoride Deception by Christopher Bryson. It's an excellent book. It says, this book, meticulously researched book, showed that industrial interests concerned about liabilities from fluoride pollution and health effects on workers played a significant role in the early promotion of fluoridation. Bryson also details the harassment of scientists who express concerns about the safety and/or efficacy of fluoridation. And that's really where we get down to the bottom line. Our health professionals, no matter how good they are, they won't have a job if they come out and say that fluoride is not in the best interest of our children and our public. And so that's that puts us in a very difficult position. That puts them in a very difficult position. My 5 years is probably up. Can I leave you with 2 things, actually? I wish there would be 2 people who would help me give a visual demo.
If you could just give those to the city clerk, she'll be sure to get them out.
Well, okay. This
Ooh.
is, I can't do alone. This would stretch from there to there. It's in size 9 font. These are the 4,000 professionals. It's a pretty awesome visual. It shows I am not alone, and I'm just the mom. I will leave with you. I've already sent you the
Right,
information.
and Council, you do have that in your email. I did forward it just about 20 minutes ago.
I will also give you these.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Was there anybody else who want to address the council? What's the wish of the
We
council?
adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Zwicker, second by Mr. Prince, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Here in Renton. The way the whole competition was set up, the films have to actually be shot right here in our community. So you